again, I'm John Brennan, and welcome to the Commonwealth Bank Cup, a never-ending race with tonight 2 unbeaten sides and another Commonwealth Bank Cup group final. Twice winners of the Cup, St Gregory's College, Campbelltown, and the very stiff challenge tonight comes from James Cook High, quarter-finalists from last year. So a very interesting encounter, Bill Anderson.
Well, it will be, John. These are two schools absolutely steeped in rugby league tradition. This will be a crackerjack game tonight.
Ray O'Donnell, the Assistant Director of the Referees Association, joining Bill to log the statistics. The entertainment in this match could be quite marked. And James Cook High attack from right to left in the almost manly jumpers of white with maroon stripes. And I think St Gregory's best identified, of course, in the pale blue with the serried stripes. Both teams have a serious and a very determined approach to every game, so let's get ready for a very competitive match. Number 13 is Brian Osborne, and I'm to understand he has a good work rate. Loose one picked up straight away by St Gregory's, and referee Lionel Green says knock on both ways. And we'll have a scrum just on halfway. Lionel Green, a first-grade referee. We thank the Referees Association for supplying us men of such stature to officiate in our group finals, quarters, semis, and naturally on grand final night. So with the head and the feed, Grant Swift serving for James Cook High. And against Lacoste. At least, yes, Lacoste, and the penalty is with St Gregory's College, Campbelltown. Stand full of their respective supporters tonight. You're going to hear some chanting cascading down those rows of seats. And there's the first penalty taken by Ray Dibb. Young prop forward number 11 was captain of Benilde last year and best and fairest in the Forbes Knockout Carnival, and has gone to St Gregory's College, Campbelltown for 83 to complete his studies. All right, at dummy half is Pat Devery, and there's a good name, swung out wide. Van Tempest has made a beautiful break, slings it out to Burns, and right to the quarter. They'll have to keep their eye on Van Tempest. He's a skillful player, and from their under-16 MCS champion side in 81, and was a standout figure last year. Very tall and strong centre, wearing number 4 for St Gregory's.
Well, that was a very incisive runner. He looks like he'd be a difficult customer to contain.
He is indeed, and they'll have to muzzle him straight away. This has beat Brett Landers, 14-odd stone, wing, second rower, and now prop tonight. Lacoste. Now with Gregory's, James Cook High trying to graft their way from their goal line. And the first few words against Ray Dibb going in with the arm. So the penalty, James Cook High. And their 5'8" David New, their captain, young boy of Fijian parents, will be taking the penalty and looking for line on this broadcasting side of the field. And there she is. I noticed that Ivan Henjek up there on screen, and quite a few of the St Gregory's boys who've done particularly well in grade. David Green, of course, with Western Suburbs. Terry Westblade tonight for Illawarra. Ivan Henjek you saw. Bruce Miller, of course. And Mick Potter playing for Canterbury, and Digby Murray over with Parramatta. Not a bad representation, Bill Anderson.
No, they've had a lot of good footballers come through their ranks, and James Cook have had some good footballers also. I can remember last year, Dennis Kinchella representing James Cook, now playing with St George.
I'll tell you what, he's not a bad footballer either. That number 10, Jeff Selby, who made a lovely break right on halfway, got the ball around the corner, it went loose, and Gregory's in possession, coming through from Michael O'Leary.
Yeah, Selby's a very strong runner with the ball, as is Jeff Hardy, the lock for James Cook.
This is Van Tempest, handled well by Selby this time, and to assist him, Philip Huntington, another fine player for James Cook, laid back by Devery. Dibb planting it downfield and clearing it well, because Sacalario has to run for it, and so too does Gary Treleben, and we'll have a
yes, he was
a
in
penalty.
Front of the kicker, John.
Offside was Jim Player, and the penalty James Cook. So the penalties, James Cook, that's the second one that they've received. And the ratio 2-1 at the moment. And James Cook have won the solo scrum. So 3 minutes gone and score 0-all, with David New again looking for the line and finding it very well just inside St Gregory's Campbelltown's territory.
Well, apart from its effect on the game, we saw last week how important that penalty count can be when the game gets tight.
I'll tell you what, there's a lot of beef out there in that James Cook 6 tonight. Coming up now is Osborne, good work rate, but good tackling by St Gregory's. Getting it out swiftly. Hardy reverses, triggers it to the blind side. Coming up fast is Selby. Selby blocked well and truly. And he was quite an on-rushing figure, is Selby. Straight back through Swift. On it goes to Hardy. This time it's with Scott Thompson, a dangerous player as well. He offloaded it beautifully for Hardy. Hardy making good progress, but around him was Robert Burns for St Gregory's. Swift straight away to Scott Thompson again. Veering back on the inside. Blocked, still going. Hard fella to contain. Great pace and superbly built young fellow for the centre. Here's Swift with the first high ball of the night. Worrying signs. Picked up. And offside. And pushing. So the penalty is with St Gregory's, and that's the first one that they've received tonight, or actually their second, 2 apiece in the first 5 minutes of play. So Dibb again with the opportunity of clearing the line for St Gregory's, and does it well just short of his own quarter. Next week we commence the quarterfinals, and we'll be again welcoming back in the informed St Leo's College from Wahroonga and Woodlawn College at Lismore.
Well, we'll now have an opportunity to have a look at the style of attack that St Gregory's use. James Cook have already revealed their hand. They've got their halfback Swift and their 5'8" new controlling play, and they're using Selby as a blindside runner.
Whitbread then joining the fray, back from Devery. Here's the kick. Dibb. Not the right roll on it, but Sacalerio is there to recover. He's good in attack and silences many a raid too, as you can see. Excellent in attack, and that's a good 20-metre gain. Picked up by Martin Dell from dummy half for James Cook. And this St Gregory's College defence is having to work overtime in the opening minutes. The passing is slick and accurate from James Cook. Hardy almost breaking the line. Straight away from Lacoste. Nice from David New, nice and deep. Picked up well by Ken Gittins. And brought to earth, well done, Denton Grimes. New Zealand boy, plenty of zip in his stride too. St Gregory's team always respected, more than happy with what they've achieved so far this season. Devery again. And trying to ghost up there was Mark Byrne, young boy from Dunedoo, and put in some fine performances last year. Again, Dibb. Martin Dell it is retrieving. And his opposite grabs him nicely. O'Leary. Fine bit of defensive work from the young winger. Sacalerio. 10 metres now into Gregory's territory. It's New through Swift. Now it's Hardy. Crowd of Gregory's players. Whitbread and Burns up there. Selby. Nice reverse movement, but Devery was there, and so too was Jamie Burns. Now Swift. On goes through New. Out wide to Scott Thompson. Joining up there, Huntington looking dangerous. And a great tackle from Gregory's. Just outside the quarter. Beautiful tackle by Mark Byrne. Misdirected by David New. Well taken. Jim player. New face. And looks a likely customer. So the score is 0-0 after 8 minutes of play between St Gregory's College Campbelltown and James Cook High. To serve now, coming up from Mark Byrne, the young farmer from Dunedoo. Referee Lionel Green has said, St Gregory's, you've collapsed, and James Cook will take the penalty. The differential, and coming up for that, is Grant Swift. And he hands it immediately to his captain, David New. So Lacoste will receive the ball and restart play for James Cook. And the ball onto the ball then was Brett Landers. Now he comes again. There's that 14.5 stone frame shifting over the field to land about 7 metres out from Gregory's goal line. Straight back, coming back to Lacoste, Sacalerio.
Yes, I think Selby will need some watching in these situations back down the blind side.
All right, here goes Swift. Looking for Huntington on the inside. He's got him. Huntington is there, held up, and that was intentionally forward. So Swift is having a few words with referee Green. He's explaining the situation, and the penalty, St Gregory's College. 3-3, the penalties, and only one scrum we've had in the match so far. James Cook have won it. Ray Dibbs, best and fairest up at the Forbes knockout, a fine leader, As you'll see throughout the night, he decks them hard. He's quite a creative prop too, always working, always creating. That was a nice blitzing tackle coming from Selby. He's tough, and as we've seen, mobile already in this match. So St Gregory's with it all before them, because they've virtually been prisoners down there. And here's that little chip over, picked up by Scott Thompson. And this is Hardy from dummy half for James Cook. Hesitancy as it goes to Scott Thompson. Unloading to Lacoste. Quickly outside to Hardy. Contained by Mimo Napoleone, or Napoleone. And now comes Landers. Onto the ball. Well and truly held. Closed in on the target very smartly. Crowd of players. Giving it to Osborne. Making headway. 10 metres out from Campbelltown's line. Now this could be dangerous. Huntington going. Selby. And Peter Miles, the saver for Campbelltown. A bright player with a pair of good hands, as you saw then. Had good reflexes. Gee, that's a good drive back. It's a good driving tackle from Selby. Defender. My word. So going for a scoot is Van Tempest. But no way through Landers and Lacoste. Just short of his own quarter. Again, they're booting it through Ray Dibb. Back forward is Treleaven. Saccarelio. Now goes Hardy, very involved in the opening minutes of play. And the tackler, Robinson. Keep your eyes on him, number 8, Huntington. Midway between the quarter and halfway in Gregory's territory. James Cook. And the tackler, Robert Burns. Fingering off, a reverse movement coming through. Selby again. Tough customer. Got it away beautifully. And takes a crowd of St Gregory's players to move in, collect and smother. Now it's with Swift. Up goes the high ball again. Worry signs. And Gregory 6 more, with Thompson receiving the ball just in front of the goal mouth. Martindale from dummy half. Sheer weight and determination of these fellows. Incredible. So the score is 0-0 after 12 minutes of play. And we have a scrum going down, a 5-metre scrum just outside Gregory's goal line, and with Mark Byrne to feed.
James Cook appear to have the advantage in size and strength in the forwards, and I'm sure they'll use that very much tonight.
Well, they're certainly using it in the opening minutes of play, mate. The Premiership high flyer they are. They've been in the hunt since the early days of '83, but it's a Campbelltown win. And St Gregory's play it with Ken Gittins trying to make a run. And the tackler there was Jeff Hardy. Now coming away is O'Leary, tidied up there by Selby. Have a James Cook player down in back play, Van Tempest. Trying to slice through again, and in doing so, of course, he's lost the ball, and referee Green recalls play and puts a scrum down just on St Gregory's quarter, with the score at 0-0 between St Gregory's College Campbelltown, James Cook High in our final group final. All right, New. Midway between the quarter and halfway. James Cook with it. It's Thompson unloading it inside to David New. Good tackle, Robinson. Scott Thompson. And the penalty, James Cook High.
Yes, that penalty was against the marker, who wasn't directly in front of the person playing the ball. And I think that Brett Landers would have a kick for goal from here. Very good goal kicker, Landers. We've seen him in Commonwealth Bank competition before, and he'll have no trouble with the distance.
Well, I know Brian Smith, the coach for James Cook High, maintains he's one of the best goal kickers he's seen in school football. He had that rap on him last year. He gave us some very fine performances with a very unerring boot. in the early rounds, but fell short of the mark at the Sydney Cricket Ground when it really counted. But kicks them from all angles, and he is the son of the former Easts and Penrith star Bob Landers. So this one is just 32 metres out and just a little off centre. Strength of shot. It's a beauty. Hasn't failed us tonight, so James Cook High lead St Gregory's College Campbelltown by 2 points to 0. We again tonight will be voting in the Radio 95 2UE Player of the Year award. Voting will continue right through all the finals, and the player on the field on Cup final night who has accumulated the most votes will win that $4,000 educational scholarship from 95 2UE. It's a great cushion in relation to educational expenses these days, and it's a whopping great cheque. And such is the generosity of 95 2UE, and we thank them immensely. Huntington making good work for James Cook, now picked up by Lacoste, making good ground, swung out well by Grimes. This is Thompson, cleaned up on the far side, gets up and plays it.
Yes, Huntington's another player that will create problems for St Gregory's tonight. He normally plays in the centres, and at the moment he's playing in the second row because of injuries, but he's going to occupy that centre position most of the night in attack. He'll be a wide running forward.
Yes, he played centre in 81. He played lock last year, and very intelligent in attack, as most of these fellows are, as we've seen already tonight, with Martindale making progress about 30 metres out from Gregory's goal line. This is Huntington. Number 7 is Swift. There's the shot for line, and it's a little trimmer. It has to be, what, only a few metres out from St Gregory's goal line. A scrum to go down, and the score still 2-0 in favour of James Cook. The scrums have gone James Cook's way 2-1. Penalties James Cook way 4-3. McBurn, the feeder of the scrum. And referee Green penalising St Gregory's, and particularly Pat Devery for feet across. It's a great football name, isn't it? Pat Devery. His young brother Michael gave us a great exhibition of hooking last year, almost a freakish exhibition. The boys from the Cowra area of New South Wales. James Cook High swung out quickly from New on a foil and coming through beautifully. Selby on the burst. And desperation tackle again from that Leon Robinson. Now straight away scooped out through New. Simple handling error, but James Cook still in possession with Huntington going for a scoot. How long can this St Gregory's keep up this defensive screen? Because they've had practically, must have been something close to 26 consecutive tackles there, it seems like it. Fed out by Thompson, swung back by New, taken by Hardy. Hardy hesitating and then deciding to go through. But the defence of St Gregory's is all there at the moment. Now this is Selby looking for support play, and he had it too from Hardy. But a good pick up by St Gregory's, and by gee, they needed it too, because they've been grimly meeting this full force of this excellent James Cook pressure. I think they've been down there for the last 15, 16 minutes.
James Cook's had most of the ball, and they've run onto the ball very hard. Consequently, they've created a lot of problems for St Gregory's, but they've, full credit to them, they've done well to be able to keep their defence nice and tidy.
And that was a great touch finder, with the scrum just on halfway. Gregory's cheer squad down there urging their boys on. The chance rising. James Cook winning the ball. Referee Green says he wants it refed, and that Grant Swift will do. Coming up is Sacalerio. Handling errors creeping into their play bill at the moment. Gregory's whipping it out smartly. Peter Miles coming up well. Gittins, good fly by Palmer.
What James Cook have to avoid is the frustration which can set in sometimes when you've had a lot of the ball and you don't come up with that try. The try eludes you, the opposition get the ball, and you become frustrated not having got the ball over the line. Very often your defence can fall apart.
So again, it's a James Cook ball. Lacoste winning a string of scrums. I remember him last year, 8-1, I think it was, in one particular match.
Yes, I like the look of Lacoste. Apart from being a good scrummager, he takes good control in the middle, both in attack and defence.
Doesn't he ever? So a run there from Thompson. Huntington with the ball. And in there is Greg Whitebread making contact. Swift. That's Osborne. Finds the opening, not for long. Around him, Robert Burns. Fine bit of defence work. Lacoste with Swift. The chip. Back to Palmer. And making good headway. Palmer, a likely customer, it looks like, in Top Gear. Now Devery. And he feeds Mimo Napoleone, who's fairly strong and effective in his work too. So they spread it once again. Vane Tempest. Cut out Gittins. Gittins is there. Tidying him up is Huntington. Backing up Van Tempest. O'Leary. But quick to cover is James Cook. But they strung the ball well, Gregory's, with Devery. Through Byrne. Going for them now is Whitbread. Putting in a wholehearted effort. Centre field. Now James Cook with the defensive work to do. Coming up, Ray Dibb. That's Jamie Burns. Huntington the tackler. Devery again. Dibb. High ball. Chases. And well taken, Martindale. Man to look for when you're in a corner, and a man to look for, I believe, when you're wanting some speed. So James Cook now with Sacalario bringing it out, and now it's Martindale again in the play. Selby feeding. Landers on the outskirts of the run.
Well, when you get to this stage of a competition, which is statewide for schoolboys, you expect to see some good footballers. And aren't we seeing some good footballers on show tonight?
Osborne there joining the fray, pepping up things up front. Now laid back for New to clear. It's a whopping kick too for Gittins on his quarter. And contained by Selby.
St Gregory's look like they've got some good steppers with the ball, and James Cook won't be able to give them any latitude.
Van Tempest forward for St Gregory's. 10 metres short of their own side of halfway. This is Devery. Now Mick Byrne. Dibb. Good pass to Robert Burns. Devery quick in for dummy half. Byrne again. And rounded up well by Huntington. Silenced his run very smartly. Now they wheel it again. Craig Whitbread. And checked in centre field. Coming again as Dibb. Why, well, that's got a lot of altitude on it. Picked up well, Devery. Going for it himself. He's going for the line. Oh, cover! Oh, what top stuff. Come beyond rushing St Gregory's.
Didn't he show a clean pair of heels for a hooker? He looked more like a winger going down the sideline.
They stood there in amazement and said, is this fella a hooker? Jet propelled he was, number 12. Well, St Gregory's on the attack. Here's Byrne. Oh, the little dummy. Miles was there on the outside. Now he'll throw a quick pass. If they clear it well, they could be in. Van Tempest with the step. He's a half a metre short. Straight back. Selby there looking after Whitbread. Devery again.
We've got a big line here.
In. St Gregory's are there. So Mick Byrne makes it pay. 4 points in the clear. That was a little ripper from Mick Byrne, the scrum half for St Gregory's.
Well, more than anything, that try was frustration on James Cook's part. They've had all the ball for most of the game, weren't able to come up with a try, and I think that when St Greg's got the ball, they were able to apply sufficient pressure through their halfback, and that's the result.
Well, he's been developing things. His football brain been working overtime, close to the rucks, and He prayed and did a little bit of a searching run, a couple of rucks prior to that, and then took off that time, and 4 points in the clear. After absorbing so much pressure from James Cook High, who no doubt will come back now. But St Gregory's first points on the board, and they lead 4-2 through the try by Mark Byrne. So this is well off centre, and it's about 15 metres out. It's a good touch. It's straight. It's a goal, and it's 6 points to 2. St Gregory's Campbelltown leading James Cook High in our final group final. Well, I said at the outset they've been happy with what they've achieved this season, although still building. They've reached the semis at Forbes Knockout Carnival, undefeated in the MCS thus far, so performing beyond expectations in 83 with an exceptionally young and lightweight side, but 3 back from last year's squad. But Greg's had a late start to the season, but they've been pretty consistent with their results. So St Gregory's now moving with the ball, and that was Jamie Burns. 30 metres out from his goal line. Devery again, laying it back. Robert Burns. It's the fellow who was overrunning it. Wide to Dibb. And referee Green says we'll have a scrum right on the quarter, which gives James Cook High a handy situation to have with about 3 minutes before half-time and in a good attacking positive position. And they've won at James Cook. That's new. Forced to ground by his opposite, Peter Miles, who put in the challenge. Here goes Hardy, knocked down by Napoleone. Very strong and effective in his tackling work. Now from dummy half goes Lacoste. Strong, providing heaps of possession. Now New. Switching it again, coming onto it beautifully, Selby. He hits the line, but he's slowing up as he hits it tonight.
Yes, he's obviously a blind side runner, Selby. As a matter of fact, I'd like to see him get more involved in both areas of the play. He's waiting a lot on the blind side for those opportunities, and there are other areas you can attack from, such as dummy half. Thompson with a little step. He can be a destroyer, I believe, if you've given half a chance. Here's Swift trying to do his darndest, and she's a straight-up ball. Gittins. Take juggling up after that. Looked like he had it on a rope, didn't he? Yeah, didn't he ever? Like a yo-yo. So Robertson with the penalty going to St Gregory's College, and that'll be welcomed, let me tell you. It's James Cook High with the breeze behind them. James Cook have won the scrums 5-2. The penalties are 5-4 in favour of James Cook. Ray Dibb. And the touch finder about 5 metres short of his quarter. Devery to recommence with the free. All right, he says, come onto it. Decoy work and coming into it, O'Leary. Tackled this time by Osborne. Right on Gregory's quarter. Blindside stuff from Napoleone. He's very willing in the tough work up front. Another who wants to have a run is Robert Burns. He's been fairly methodical in his tackling and not a bad runner either. Mark Byrne out through Miles. Wayne Tempest on the run around. Decoy stuff again. And Nelly through the gap. Close smartly. Oh, young Robinson. Gittins feeding Mark Byrne out there wide. And Devery at their heels, settling into dummy half. About a minute and a half to go before half-time. Spread out wide. Dibb. Into the harm's well of Choleben. Chasers contain him 10 metres short of his own side of halfway. And much to the delight of the St Gregory supporters, that's where the scrum will go down. Just under the clock. Well,
Well, it's been a tight and a fairly titanic first half, Bill.
There's been nothing in it. The first 10 or 15 minutes of the first half, it looked like James Cook would be too strong for St Greg's, but they've stuck at their game well.
Wayne Tempest gives a sneaky little pass. Burn! Oh, gee, they had supports to the right. 3 on 2.
I tell you what, he's a good player, young Byrne. He's a good organiser, but he's got enough pace to go on with it with himself if it's necessary.
Wayne Tempest bringing it forward for St Gregory's. And keeping up the momentum through Mark Byrne. Out Miles has it this time, coming onto the ball. Ray Dibb. And called on for the defensive work, and they deny him any further progress. So that's Greg Whitbread and Huntington making contact right on the corner. And what a first half we've had. It was all James Cook High in the first 25 minutes, and the remaining 10 minutes, St Gregory's have bounced back, scored a try, and have been on the attack. But it's been a super first half. This is our final group final of the Commonwealth Bank Cup, 83, and the scoreline reads at half-time, to the joy of the Gregory's supporters as they troop off the field. Gregory's of Campbelltown leading James Cook High 6 points to 2. As you rejoin us at Leichhardt Oval for the second half of our final group final of the Commonwealth Bank Cup, we have a scoreline of where St Gregory's College Campbelltown lead James Cook High by 6 points to 2. A first 30 minutes that showed us that James Cook have done their homework well on St Gregory's. They started with some very fine incidences in attack, but St Gregory's frustrated their attack with some very fine powered defence.
Well, I'm not going to try to pick a winner. What I will say is that James Cook looked bigger and stronger than St Greg's, but St Greg's have got some very good movers with the ball, some very sharp backs.
Well, now Gregory's are running right to left of your screen in this second half, and James Cook High guarding the goal line to the left. Now, this is Dibb, who did some fancy work in the first half, midway between the quarter and halfway in his own territory. Devery offloading. That was Robert Burns. Now Ben Tempest. This is Gittins. And just put his foot out into touch. Scrum, first one of the second half. As we take up the statistics through Ray O'Donnell in the scrums, James Cook have won 5, St Gregory's 3 in the first half. The penalties 5-4 in favour of James Cook High. And a refeed. And the next penalty is James Cook's way. Highlights of Gregory's Commonwealth Bank Cup run so far have been wins over Mount Druitt, 60-4, Kingsgrove North 24-8, and a forfeit earlier on. They've also drawn, I think, with Holy Cross College Ryan in the MCS competition, so you can see they've added a few scalps to their impressive belt. In the meantime, James Cook taking up the attack through Lacoste. Swung out from Osborne. Good pass to New. Long to Selby, trying to crash through. Gives it out, scooped up by Thompson. Back inside to New. And they parcel him up. Just outside Gregory's quarter. Penalty to James Cook High. And that's 7 now to Gregory's 4. So they've had plenty of the ball. 5-3 in the scrums, 7-4 in the penalties, with Brett Landers, whom we referred to earlier in the match as a fellow who could kick them from everywhere, comes up to have a shot at this one. 3 minutes gone in the second half, and the score 6-2 in favour of St Gregory's. Next week, 8 schools will be in the running for that magnificent Cup Final award of $7,500 worth of TV equipment for their schools, from Rank Arena and Electronic Sales and Rentals to exceptionally fine companies, the providers of great TV incentives for the Cup finalists of 83. So we think Rank Arena, just about the best you can get in electronic gear and electronic sales and rentals, and of course that's the best distributor in town. Looks pretty deadly in the air. It's a good ball. And St Gregory's now lead James Cook High by 6 points to 4 through the boot of Brett Landers. So 6-4 it is. Gregory's about to recommence from the centre of halfway through Ray Dibb. Always working. Ten metres out from their goal line. And this is Sacalerio, their fullback. Robinson, the tackler. Every the tackler on Huntington. They're eager beavers, Gregory's at the moment, hunting down every player. Here goes Huntington. Over the top is Robert Burns. Full-blooded challengers. Swift, Osborne. Nice pass. Selby streaming wide. Halfway. Support play from Swift. Actually, it's Treleaven. Stripped of the ball through Greg Whitebread. Devery. Mark Byrne. The close ball to Robert Burns. Devery again. Mark Byrne. Miles. Dibb. Good pass. Van Tempest. The idea was right as Gittins had arrived. And a scrum will go down just short of halfway in Gregory's territory. After 5 minutes, it's 6-4 and an exciting and close group final. Straight away to New. Blocked though, and actually it was Jeff Hardy.
Yes, David New's feeding the scrums at the moment, and Jeff Hardy's gone to 5'8".
This is Scott Thompson, who lost the ball.
Yes, made a lot of fundamental errors, John, on the first and second tackle, James Cook.
Yes, they're very big, balanced and booming side, and it looked as though they were going to have things all their own way in that first half.
And this is interesting. The fullback's gone to lock. David New from 5'8's gone to halfback, and their halves moved to the fullback position. I think they're only using it some scrum situations. I'd say what they're trying to do is give themselves some attack off the scrum with Jeff Hardy, who's a very good ball runner.
Well, that was Mark Byrne, and the challenge came from Grant Swift, his opposite. This is Dibb. Taking him out of the play, and up there is Devery. Onto it smartly is Robinson. Young fellow from the combined high school side of last year and representing New South Wales Catholic schoolboys side this year. Byrne, Miles, Van Tempest. Back up from Miles again. And a nice incisive run up to the quarter. James Cook defending. Gregory's now on the attack. Whipped out straight away. Dibb has it. Long ball. Napoleone. Gittins. Burns.
Both teams have showed their willingness to offload the ball in tackles to keep play moving, and that's a good trait for all schoolboy footballers to have.
Devery feeding Burns. And the penalty, James Cook high. Or changeover, actually. Now Swift. Touch on to New. Selby skirting. This could be promising. Reached over there to Denton Grimes. Tackling from Whitbread. Lot expected from Landers as he heaves on through, joined the fray, wanting a bit of action. Stringing their passes again now. Huntington. Wrapped up. Coming in well was O'Leary.
Well, that penalty was for the player's allowed to play the ball forward, but he can't play it forward when he's got a marker. Consequently, he's picked the ball up in the ruck, and that's a penalty to St Gregory's College.
See what they'll do here. The penalty is a 7-5, and the ratio to James Cook high. And the scrum's 6-4. James Cook's way.
Yes, I'm a bit surprised they didn't take the kick for goal.
And so too am I. Ray Dibb. And finding touch about 8 metres out. From James Cook's line, here is Devery calling on his big forwards. Napoleonio goes one way, and you wouldn't read about it from Greg Whitebread.
I'm sure they wish they'd have taken a kick for goal now.
It's a grand swift feed. And penalty is with St Gregory's. 7-6 now in favour of James Cook High. Differential. And Dibb says, I'll shoot for the line. James Cook, the current holders of the prestigious University Shield down in Chatham High last year. And they've certainly asserted their authority again this year. There goes Robinson with a crashing run. And this could be very promising. Taking it out wide, and it came well through Grimes. Thompson. They're quick to cover Gregory's. And bowled over Martindale beautifully. The score is 6-4 after 9 minutes of play, and St Gregory's lead James Cook High. New. Taken beautifully by his opposite, Peter Miles. Here goes a big run coming from Jeff Hardy, 5/8 last year. Very fast, intelligent in attack. Swift. Feeding Thompson. Backup play from Swift again. Rounded up by Mark Byrne. Now Thompson. They're 10 metres inside Gregory's territory. And big tackling again from Robinson. Straight away through New. Good running by Selby. He's up to the corner. Looking for support. He's got it over on the left. Takes the tackle of Gittins, looking for support, and well smothered by the Campbelltown fullback. Now can they puncture this line? Straight to Thompson, out wide Landers, scoops a ball to Grimes, but he can't unload to Treleaven. And Gregory's with the ball now, grafting away from their goal line. And a big opportunity then, Bill.
Well, that was a great opportunity for James Cook to come up with a try. Selby's looked dangerous all night, and that was one occasion he looked like he might have gone right on with it for a try. But because what James Cook have got to do is exactly what they haven't done now, which is give away a penalty. What they needed to do is to keep St Greg's in their own quarter and then wait to get the ball back.
Well, and truly under pressure. So Dibb. And just short of their quarter. Now onto the ball is Greg Whitebread. And collected this time by Landers and Selby. Blindside burst. It's number 15 on, who's Philip Wilde. And Tempest. To smother him. So a scrum 30 metres out from Gregory's goal line. Ray Dibb and Robinson providing all of the experience, and they thrive on pressure in this St Gregory side. So a feed again by New. And referee Green recalls him once again. James Cook ball. Oh.
Well, that wasn't good work by James Cook. They won that ball cleanly with the from the scrum, but Mark Byrne came up with it after a fumble.
Good running from Gregory's, from Jim Palmer. Up there is Gittins. Through Van Tempest. Mark Byrne. Offloading. There's a penalty. He was told to play the ball.
Yes, that's the second time tonight we've seen the referee very strong against players who have been effectively held passing the ball once tackled.
Brett Landers then. And whilst we've been watching him, David New, their skipper, has been receiving some attention. Now Landers comes again. And we saw what happened then. Robinson. Good clearance. And Tempest. Burns. And O'Leary.
Well, we're starting to notice frustration and pressure creep into both sides. We've seen teams, good football teams too, cough up the ball on the first and second tackle simply because they're trying to do too much with the ball when it's not on. But that's the result of pressure.
Worry lines appearing on James Cook's phases and not feeding correctly. And the boys from Campbelltown receive another penalty that brings them up even Stevens, 8-all, with James Cook High in the penalty division. Our thanks to Ray O'Donnell for our statistics. And that's Ray Dibb finding the line again. Badly need some breaks, James Cook High. They're grim-faced at the moment, and they'll be called on to do a heck of a lot of defensive work here as they clear the ball through Robinson, coming out to Miles, taken by Dibb up on the line. And Gregory again, shooting to Miles. Philip Wild and takes the tackle of Osborne. Mark Byrne. Didn't fool Jeff Hardy. Just outside James Cook's quarters. Here comes Dibb. Lovely to Napoleone. And a hard boy to run down.
Dibb held that pass up very well.
Beautiful,
that was a good combination between the two prop forwards.
Now Byrne. Miles. Van Tempest. Long pass Burns. Oh, gee, was just on a break. 10 metres out from the line.
He was almost through. They've got a couple of very sharp centres, and Greggs, Burns and Van Tempest given half a yard.
Gittins reversing it through Wild, but Byrne would have been much better. He'd have fed it out. They had 3 against 2 then.
Yes, he would have been better to pass the ball, and I thought that was a very good refereeing decision. James Cook boy didn't play at the ball, and consequently it wasn't 6 tackles to go. So Osborne to play it for James Cook High. Coming away is Selby. You know, I tend to think this is where a few holes are against St Greg's. I think their marker defence isn't all that strong. I think they've dropped off that a little. I think if James Cook could run more from dummy half, they'd find some holes around that ruck area.
Coming onto the ball is Thompson. Picked up Hardy. Back inside is Swift. Chopped off by Robinson. And they're just short of their own side of halfway with Thompson. The touch on to New. Good pass to Selby again. Crashing up to halfway. Now with Swift for the line. Gittins is there. Nice reaction. And almost up to his quarter before he was taken by Gary Treleaven. This is Jim Palmer making some headway for Gregory's. Devery and Eager Beaver. Now I think we have Fondarakis coming on for James Cook High. There's a big clearance job. Belted well down. Martindale retrieves. And wrapped up by the Gregory's runners.
Yes, that was a very good chase by St Gregory's also. It's not sufficient just to kick the ball deep downfield. The rest of your team has to be aware they've got to give a good chase and make an effective first-up tackle. If that first-up tackle isn't effective, the kick is useless.
6 more to James Cook High. Tackler Robinson. In association with Whitbread.
Yeah, I
Easily,
just got the feeling that some of the James Cook players are starting to run cross-field instead and getting back to their pattern, which was early in this game, running from dummy half, getting back deep and hitting the ball up around the rucks.
Thompson. After good mileage, they took him out. Huntington, Thompson again.
Yeah, that's better play.
And Tempest over the top. And Philip wide underneath. It could be dangerous here. There's the high ball. No pressure, though, for O'Leary.
No pressure, but it was well taken. Sometimes very difficult to take a high ball under the lights.
And that was Jamie Burns, bringing it up to almost the quarter. Dibb. Contained this time. Good possession now for James Cook High. Osborne. Trapped by Devery. On the quarter. Swift. Big charge. Hardy controlled on the quarter. Swift. Osborne. Selby.
Yeah, he's the man that could turn the game, but that was a poor pass, and he's given possession back to St Greg's.
And Devery quick in the open, giving plenty of good service and good possession for the St Gregory's boys. That was Lacoste chopping off a burn run 30 metres out from Gregory's goal line. Out wide, Van Tempest. Good running by Jamie Burns. And simple stuff there from Jim Palmer. So the score is 6 points to 4. St Gregory's College, Campbelltown, leading James Cook High with 10 minutes to go before full time. We have David New, the skipper for James Cook High, off for the boys, and John Fondarakis is on. And this is Saccarelio, Hardy. Swift. Touch to Huntington. And he's through. Almost tabbing him is Greg Whitebread. 30 metres out there from Gregory's goal line. And Swift onto Osborne. Doubling. Defence again is good. Plenty of ambition and desire and purpose in the Gregory's defence.
So that's where the holes are. Just that run from dummy half to that area behind the ruck. If James Cook are going to find a hole, that's where it'll be.
Let's see if they can spread it now. Out wide to Thompson. Selby looking as though he's going to do plenty of damage out there. That's Fondarakis. And the changeover. And that was Philip Wilde from dummy half for Gregory's.
Well, there's no pressure on Gregory's. What they've got to do is just lock the ball up, work it 1 and 2 off the ruck, run from dummy half and use a kicking game. A lot more pressure on James Cook. They've got to try to do something with the ball, but I think that James Cook are equal to the task. They've got a good coach. They play a lot of pressure football, such as Commonwealth Bank Cup football, University Shield, and they can handle the pressure.
That was Whitbread again, tidied up. Devery. Dib. Deflection. Gittins. Now Van Tempest. Picking him up nicely, Byrne. And good running from Gregory's. 10 metres now inside James Cook's half. Byrne requiring some attention. He's all right. Tough as a mulgatory. Have a look at him. Up he gets. Number 15 coming on for James Cook too, as Gregory's running the ball. Number 15 is Harry Pavlidis. Devery saying I'll throw it right, and of course he's going to throw it left. Dib on the inside alley now. Parcelled up there by James Cook defence. Lacoste was there to control his run. And Devery again from dummy half. And on James Cook's quarter, Dib. Robinson. And James Cook with the ball. Fondarakis, 30 metres out from his goal line. James Cook in control that time. Denton Grimes. Swift. Feeding Hardy. Hardy 10 metres short of his own side of halfway. Now it comes to Osborne. Trying to put Huntington through. Again, good defence from Jamie Burns. James Cook, 10 metres inside St Gregory's half. Well, you couldn't find anything tighter nor harder than this match, Bill.
Well, obviously one coach is going to be disappointed with the result of this game, but neither coach could be disappointed with the efforts of his players. They've given 100% non-stop defensive and attacking football.
This is Gittins. On the inside comes Van Tempest. Trying to link up with his winger, finds Devery.
He's a good footballer, Vane Tempest. He's got all the skills. He can beat a man, he can offload in tackles, he's got a good sense of the game, reads play well.
So Gittins shoots it straight away to Mark Byrne. Ray Dibb. Whitbread trapped. Midway between the quarter and halfway.
Probably still trying a little too much, St Greg's. There are only 5 minutes left to go in this match. I think they could be playing it a little tighter.
Philip Wilde, Napoleone, written by Lacoste. Last one coming up on St Gregory's. There's Devery. Taken by Sacalerio. But the runners are there. Pavlidis is on for, and Scott Riddell is on for James Cook. Scott Riddell is number 14, and number 15 is Pavlidis.
Well, obvious coach Brian Smith would know a lot more about his players than we do, but these two fellows must have plenty of attacking ability. He's put them on at a critical stage of the game, and I'm sure he must think that they can pull the game out of the fire for him.
Well, they've had the ratio of 2-1 in the scrums. Well, here it is now, and I think you'll find it's interference to the kicker. And that was on Pat Devery. So this could well lock up the match, Bill.
Well, there's no decision to make on this one. It's got to be a shot for goal, but the game still isn't out of the grasp of James Cook. Obviously, this puts Campbelltown in a very good position should he kick the goal, but they'll still be within striking distance. It'll take the score to 8-4, but a converted try would win the match for James Cook.
Well, St Gregory's have received 9 penalties, James Cook High 8. But in the scrums, it's a ratio of 2-1. James Cook has won 8, St Gregory's 4. Mark Byrne entrusted with this kick at goal. The wind almost behind him, a fraction off centre and about 13 metres out. Trust has been well founded because he's brought up the 2 points and they lead by 8 points to 4. His success rate is 1 out of 2, and Brett Landers, no? 2 out of 2.
Well, this is the situation where all coaches would like to have a thinking captain. There's no decision really for the captain to make here. He should be trying for a short kick-off, whether it be a bouncy or a grubber type kick-off. But James Cook have got to try to get the ball back, and he's done that with a short kick.
Ray Dibb has it for Gregory's. And may require some trainer attention. I was having a talk with Brian Smith, the coach of James Cook High, and he was telling me I think they have a first in high school football. They won the Buckley Shield in '79 and last year the University Shield, so they could well become the first school to win both titles and trophies with literally the same players. Maybe perhaps Chatham could challenge him on that theory, but that's honour and glory for you. They're on great terms with themselves, but they're trailing by 4 points at the moment. Peter Mulholland and Brother Silverius, the coaches, and have tried to impart their renowned knowledge of free-flowing football style into this year's 13. Not that they've had much chance for it tonight. They love playing open attacking football, as does James Cook High, but the defence of both sides has been stout, and they've ripped in with great bite. Ray Dibb, as you can see, on his feet. Brian Smith, James Cook High's coach for the second year, and again managing to blend those big forwards and backs to exhibit some very enthusiastic football that at times is quite bewildering. Always impressive, and certainly in the University Shield, and certainly here tonight. With Robinson making a dash for Gregory's. Now Gittins from dummy half. It looked as though they have just a little fraction more pace.
Yes, they're a bit sharper, particularly around the half area.
That's Devery, midway between the quarter and halfway. And Whitbread taking it to James Cook. 3 minutes remaining, and it's 8-4 in favour of St Gregory's Campbelltown. Dibb coming back to Pavlidis. And He's reached almost his quarter. Coming away is Scott Riddell, looked after by Pat Devery. Thompson, before he brought him down, or Robinson. Now, Riddell again through Swift. Selby. And Gregory's pouncing on their men in these last few minutes. James Cook just wanting to crack that line. Comes Hardy. And he's looked after by Napoleone. Riddell. Swift. Back inside, finding Hardy in good support play. And they're about 8 metres short of their own side of halfway, but it's change over time. And Gregory's come away with it through Mark Byrne.
Well, the tactic now for Gregory's is the field goal. What they've got to do is take play towards the post for 3 or 4 tackles, then pot a field goal. That'll give them the 1 point on the scoreboard, plus it'll give them the time which elapses for the ball to come back to halfway to kick off, and they'll get the ball back from the return kick off from the restart of play.
Robinson. Napoleone. Just inside James Cook's quarter.
Well, this is the correct tactic. The field goal now are on the following tackle.
Byrne. Miles. Wayne Tempest to Gittins. Around the corner, beautifully done. And only about 1.5 meters short. Ken Gittins. He's given a bit of an eye-catching display here tonight. Byrne with Dib going for the line. And he's detained about 1 metre short. Change over again. And the penalty is with James Cook High. So we have only seconds to go in this final group final. But they came on like an avalanche, James Cook High, earlier tonight with size and pace and skill and a winning understanding. But Gregory's have come back and sounded the warning bells. With seconds remaining and they lead by 8 points to 4. Hardy trying his darndest. Through Mark Byrne.
Well, the tactic now for Gregory's is the field goal. What they've got to do is take play towards the post for 3 or 4 tackles, then pot a field goal. That'll give them the 1 point on the scoreboard, plus it'll give them the time which elapses for the ball to come back to halfway to kick off, and they'll get the ball back from the return kick off from the restart of play.
Robinson. Napoleone. Just inside James Cook's quarter.
Well, this is the correct tactic. The field goal now are on the following tackle.
Byrne. Miles. Wayne Tempest to Gittins. Around the corner, beautifully done. And only about 1.5 meters short. Ken Gittins. He's given a bit of an eye-catching display here tonight. Byrne with Dib going for the line. And he's detained about 1 metre short. Change over again. And the penalty is with James Cook High. So we have only seconds to go in this final group final. But they came on like an avalanche, James Cook High, earlier tonight with size and pace and skill and a winning understanding. But Gregory's have come back and sounded the warning bells. With seconds remaining and they lead by 8 points to 4. Hardy trying his darndest. Well, they've sounded the bells that they're premiership threat again, although the match is not over yet. It's only seconds to go, though. And there it is. It's some breaks. There's Swift, too deep. And Gittins will take the tackle. And goes to ground. So there it is. Back as a premiership threat. The pride of Campbelltown, St Gregory's College. And came in tonight as the underdogs. And have defeated the very strong and the highly fancied James Cook High in our final group final of the Commonwealth Bank Cup by 8 points to 4. I think you'll applaud that match. St Gregory's College, Campbelltown defeating James Cook High by 8 points to 4 in our final group final of the Commonwealth Bank Cup for 1983. I think we had some great attacking ideas from both sides, some very outstanding and biting defence. In fact, I think it's a game that will be talked about so far as students are concerned in schools for weeks to come, and I think a few of the old fellas at home will be talking about it in pubs for a few weeks to come. Would you say that, Bill?
Well, it was a great game of football, John. Unfortunately, there can only be one winner because both teams tonight showed enough to suggest they were both good enough to make the final of this competition, but as I said, can only be one winner.
I know you've seen James Cook High play a few times. What do you think was wrong with them tonight?
Well, I don't think there was anything wrong with them. I think they played a good style of football, but on the night, the opposition was just a little too strong.
I only asked you that because they did come in very, very firm favourites.
Yes, well, they would have been favourites for this competition, I suppose, more than any other reason, simply because we knew a lot more about them. St Greg's have hid their lead up to this competition fairly well this year.
Yes. Well, of course, they were quarter-finalists last year, of course, James Cook High, and put in a superb performance as last year. So we see them gone again this time. Some of the fellas who caught your eye? Well,
there were some good players on both sides. I like the look particularly of Selby on James Cook. On the other side of the fence, I like the looks of Mark Byrne. I thought he was an outstanding prospector. There were a number of players. Mimo Napoleone, I thought, looked particularly good, and also Paul Van Tempest. He's got all the skills that it takes to become a top centre.
Good, Bill. Well, of course, we've all put in our votes. Bill Anderson, Ray O'Donnell, the Assistant Director of the Referees Association, and yours truly, for the 95 2UE $4,000 Tertiary Education Scholarship. And the points will continue to roll right through until grand final night. And the 1 point tonight went to Van Tempest, the centre for St Gregory's College. The 2 points went to Pat Devery, the hooker for St Gregory's College, Campbelltown. And the 3 points, complete whitewash, went to Mark Byrne, the halfback for St Gregory's College, Campbelltown. So there you are. Just summarising, the scrums were a ratio of 2 to 1 James Cook's way. They won them 8-4, the penalties 9 apiece between St Gregory's and James Cook High. Next week we step forward with the first quarter-final of the Commonwealth Bank Cup and bringing together St Leo's College Wahroonga, a very, very fine football side, and Woodlawn College. They always seem to make the quarter-finals from, of course, the old Lismore, and an outstanding football school as well. Bill Anderson, again, thanks indeed for being with us tonight.
Pleasure, John.
Our thanks to Ray O'Donnell, and together we've been here for the Commonwealth Bank and, of course, Channel 10 Sports.
When is a convention unconventional? You'll find out on House Calls in just a moment.